Right, guys, and welcome back. This is the Above Average FPL podcast with me, CY, and Baker, FPL343. How are you doing this morning, mate?
Good, mate. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Keeping well?
Yeah, good. Good. Survived with it. Don't feel too bad. Like, I mean, when I say survived, I mean head feels okay. You know, it's
Yes. Well, 2 days of feasting. It's all good. It's
all good, mate.
It's
You?
all drinking food. Yeah, good, mate. Good. Yeah. So parents for Christmas, in-laws for Boxing Day. So yeah, really good. It was great, actually. We came back last night, and funny story. We sat down. We were watching the Brighton Brentford game, and McAllister slams one wide early in the second half, and I go, I tell you what, I'll give you a fiver if you can guess what country McAllister's from. My mum, in like half a second, Argentina. How the fuck? Of course, what I didn't know is that I think he got substituted on, or late in the first half. The commentator said that he's the Argentinian striker celebrating his 23rd birthday. So I got absolutely done.
Yeah.
And she done me. She asked me, so she offered me my fiver back if I could guess how old he was, and I didn't know.
Amazing.
So I've been absolutely done by my mum. Her football knowledge is quite good anyway, but yeah, I was hoping for a one over there, but yeah, lost a fiver. Thanks very much.
Oh, nice work.
But yeah, generally, yeah, really, really good. Obviously chaos yesterday. With
Standard.
everything's going on.
Every game week, it's chaos.
Oh, it's just a different thing, isn't it? I mean, obviously the site obviously crashing yesterday.
Yeah.
It affected me, but it didn't affect me because I was going to go make a change. Because when I heard that Foden was going to be out, I had him, but I didn't actually end up going into the site because I saw you messaged me saying, "Mate, site's fucked." So
Yeah.
I actually just thought, well, okay, we'll just leave it and see what happens. And I feel sorry for guys that left it late because the worst thing you could have done in game week 18 was go early, and yet you try and go as late as possible in game week 19, you get absolutely screwed over. So I finalised my team about 1:15 in the end, and on the free hit. So I wasn't exactly affected. I just picked the wrong bloody Man City midfielder. But there we go.
Yeah, I almost, when that Foden news sort of come through, like 6 minutes or whatever it was before the deadline, I suddenly thought, maybe I should free hit. I'd been on free hit all the time and then come off it for I can get through this. And wanted Man City midfielders in that game. And then when it wasn't there, I was like, oh, well, Man City midfielders was the reason I wasn't free hit, and maybe I should free hit. But then it just felt like it was the wrong thing to do to knee jerk through it. So put it down and hope for the best.
The free hit for me came like the final decision came when, we knew that it was a depleted Palace, and we thought that it was going to be Son in a 3-5-2. I felt like a 3-5-2, the same formation that we battered, well, not battered, but we played well against Liverpool in, was going to be the way we go, and we ended up in a 3-4-3 against basically a full strength Palace. So, that really didn't help. I mean, we all got a bit lucky on the Son returns, which is
we got real lucky. Me,
well, as in like the ball didn't go out of play for about 7 minutes after we all heard he was going off the pitch.
Unbelievable. Yeah, so lucky there. That is, I guess, the thing is probably this. I just wish we did have transparency, and I know a lot of people compare it to NFL. The difference between NFL and the Premier League is, and football, just in general, between NFL is, in NFL, you know who's starting anyway. So you have a starting running back, you have starting quarterback, you have started, that's it. Like, it's not like, I'm just going to roll out this running back for this week. Like, you have who you have. So therefore, there's nothing about change of formations, there's nothing about change of personnel that is something that coaches can use to impact the game. So therefore, they can be completely transparent on injuries, as they are. They'll tell you all of these things. Teams definitely hide who've got it and stuff to try and, stop teams planning. I'm all for that. I've got no issue with it. I do have an issue when Palace decide that they want to try and cancel the game, and then when they announce their team, they've made one change since the last one, and that guy's on the bench.
Yeah.
So they lost none of their starting 11 from the week before.
No.
For me, it's disrepute. Absolute disrepute. It's not right.
Mate, we beat them 3-0. That'll do.
Yeah. I mean, but as a Sun captain as well, when I saw it, I was like, oh my.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting something along the lines of like Leicester's back four type thing kind of turning up, because that was
Exactly.
just a mishmash of like right wingers and youth players and Daniel Amati and stuff, and you just thought it was going to be just a mishmash of stuff, and you just thought it'd just be a whitewash, and City obviously put well, apart from being lazy in the start of the second half a little bit, they put them to the sword in terms of goals scored. So before we go into go on.
When you think about what Chelsea, some of the key positions they had out through COVID, and you compare that to the Palace one, you can see why Tuchel's been getting annoyed recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Okay. Quick plug for the podcast. So the podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. Our Twitter handles are below. They are at above average FPL for the podcast and at Baker FPL 343. We are also on YouTube. YouTube is above average FPL. For all of these platforms, make sure you subscribe. You get your latest episodes directly to your device. We also put a tweet out to let you know that it's there. Like, subscribe, review, comment, all that good stuff. We always try and engage with our listeners, watchers, anyone like that. Be really good if you could do that. That's about it for that. If you can hear background noise on my end, I've got kids running around, so just apologise for that in advance. But so that's the podcast. Quick run on, just very quick, because we're not going to focus on it, but quick run on teams. So did you want to go through your team very quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I'm out, so I am scared because I've got no Ronaldo and he's 100% owned. So everything he does, every single point that even just turning up on the pitch is
pain.
Is pain. Yeah. So
and he's 100% owned, so it's every point.
I mean, if he could get booked and then do a hamstring tweak, maybe a couple of days. Stub toe. I don't want to wish too ill of him. Stub toe. In the first few minutes, then that'd be delightful. So I didn't free hit in the end, and I have no Mo Salah for this week. And I 61 with a -4, so 57 and out. No free hit. I'll take that and go.
Who are your big scorers for those that are listening?
For those that are listening, well, the thing is, right, if I'd free hit, I would have had Kane and Ronaldo up top. That would have been the ones. And I did look at it and I thought, Lacazette and Antonio might do all right. They might do okay. They got 16 points between them, those two. That was unbelievable, really, for them. And Emerson Royale with 11-pointer. He got as much as, Cancelo, James and Alonso got 5 points between them. I really needed James and Alonso to do something for me in that evening game. That would have made a good week. Is 56 with after 9 as a net and 57 overall.
Yeah.
James and Alonso killers. And Bernardo and Foden with 3 points and 6 goals for Man City.
Yeah, pain. That's painful. But you've done okay, and I think, assuming Ronaldo, does very little. I mean, the problem is Newcastle's XGC is horrific constantly. And you just
Newcastle.
Newcastle are the problem more than United. So
right,
very quickly onto my team. So I've still got De Gea and Ronaldo to come in. I did free hit, as I said. In terms of point scorers, all my back three returned. So Diaz and Cancelo got an assist each, and Reguilon had a bonus point, so that was nice. Captain Son had Bowen, had Odegaard as well, and Kane up top. Picked the wrong City midfielder in Foden. I did tinker with Mahrez briefly, but the big thing for me was actually, should I play 3-4-3 with Lacazette up top, which I said to you. I said, would Lacazette outscore a City midfielder? The answer was yes. So hindsight's wonderful. I got Foden instead. But I've got Ronaldo on a bench. If he wants to take a break and Tellez wants to score a couple of goals instead, that would be much appreciated. That wouldn't be too bad. Yeah. And then I've got Lamptey and Brozier on the bench as well, 10 points there. So I mean, I had a nice deep bench just in case, and it would have come in quite nicely. But I'm back to triple Arsenal next week when we come back to it after the free hit expires. So yeah.
It's not long, is it?
It's not
24
long,
hours basically, and we're
basically.
in again.
Yeah, so it'll be about what? It'll be about 30 hours, 32 hours, something like that, from when we release the podcast, which will be
I
about
don't think
half
it will,
10.
mate. It's like 11 o'clock deadline tomorrow.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, Christ. Okay, fair enough.
it's 12:30 game.
Oh, fuck's sake. Okay,
Um,
fine. So it'll be 24 hours. Yeah,
oh,
cool.
actually, there won't be, will there? Because it's Arsenal Wolves is
Oh,
the 12th.
which is done.
Yeah, so that's done. So actually, we do get to go back to half one. That's not so. Oh, that's not so bad. That's a bit of
Woohoo.
time. That's
Okay,
a bit of
cool.
time. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We're going through fixtures,
I
tinkering on
mean,
things.
yeah, we can run through the games quickly. I think the key one's going to be for those that haven't free hit. You are looking at what do you do about Salah? So would you get him back in or not? And for those that have free hit, I mean, you're going to captain Salah. I'm assuming everyone is going to captain Salah. Has got it. It's the only time all season where you're going to have a really big advantage by doing so. And so your free hit's not over, really. That's the thing, probably, isn't it? And then obviously there's a lot of people with Ramsdale. It's about 60%
Yeah,
have got
I think
Ramsdale.
quite a few will have double Arsenal. Well, double or triple Arsenal
And
over
that,
the last few,
mm,
because they're going to have mashes of Tierney and Odegaard and Martinelli and
yeah,
Saka, Smith Rowe. This is obviously going to be loads of people with Smith Rowe, the bastard. But yeah,
the bastard.
oh thank God he can't do it again this week.
Yeah.
It's the biggest relief. Yeah, so there's going to be quite a few with double, triple Arsenal,
Mm.
including myself. So, that's a challenge that I need to deal with.
I think, we should always overlay the doubles probably, but as we don't know them, we probably just need to keep it in our mind really when we're looking at players we bring in at the moment.
Well, do you want to ping on to fixtures then? Because we've got the thing from Krellin. So Ben Krellin did a
Yeah,
fantastic spreadsheet. He actually made it available to everybody, which is very nice of him.
he's a lovely man, isn't he? He is a
Yeah, he is.
lovely,
I
lovely
think
man.
not only that. I think he released it to the world at like 2 minutes past midnight on Christmas Day.
He's a good
Nutcase.
man. I do know he's got a vulnerable person in his family, so he's not been able to have a big Christmas. So like we're all gaining from the fact that he's not able to have as good a Christmas as he could have. So Merry Christmas, Ben, from everyone.
Well, yes. Well
So
said.
yeah. So yeah, it looks like. So we know this week we've got 2 fixtures out as it stands. In the Leeds game, Leeds Villa,
Yeah, Leeds
and
Villa's already gone, and Arsenal Wolves.
Arsenal Wolves is gone. Then we've got 21. It looks like potentially the double might be for Leicester and Everton. I think even with a double, not many of us are going potentially to the Everton one, but they could have potentially double. Leicester are likely almost to have a double. So double in 21, double in 22. So I think Maddison is probably the one that we're all looking at the moment. Dak has done his hamstring, so Nacho might be an option. Castagna's got right wing back to himself now. Pereira's out for a while, so there's a few people from Leicester we might want to look at. Burnley, you've got they've again similar to Leicester, double. Pope, for people looking at Ramsdale, that's one for us to think about. Your Taylor, your Loughton. It's probably Loughton is probably the one there. If you were looking at 4.5 and Chris Wood, but so much rotation there forwards.
Yeah.
They're the difficult ones. Yeah, I think I would go near Everton and Villa have obviously got some games in hand.
It's such a pain. It's such a pain that Everton just being riddled with it and being rubbish. It's such a pain because they're like next 6 are so good, and with potential doubles in there as well. As you say, you're looking at potentially Leicester and then Burnley. They probably won't. Yeah, so they probably won't double, but they'll probably hit Leicester in either 21 or 22. Which means they'll have Newcastle, Brighton, Norwich, Newcastle again, Leeds, and Leicester in 7 games, which is, I mean, for any other team, you'd target their attack. And with DCL coming back, I don't think he's going to be able to play that volume of games. He's going to have to share that around straight back from injury.
I think
But
Demarai Gray is the easy one because it's cheap.
yeah,
Then Villa, I think Jacob Ramsey at 4.6, where it is, or Doug Luiz at 4.5. They're good options. Matty Cash and Target are good options. And sub 5 million defenders. There's good things out there in some cheap enablers, and I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because if you're looking at players that potentially don't play this game, like we're all using our benches every week at the moment.
yeah,
I looked at it about 4 o'clock this afternoon and thought, God, I've got a right benching headache. And then 2 hours later, I haven't got a keeper and I've lost a striker. So it's very, very, yeah. Who's to say between now and tomorrow we won't have enough more people coming out? So it's just very, very difficult. But I think we should be thinking, what can we get in those doubles? Because they're going to have to play some games. They've got to play some games. We're just too far behind.
yeah, yes, agreed.
But yeah, all good fun. And we should remember 22 is actually like 2.5 weeks away. Gameweek 22 is a while. So, but yeah, you free hitted. So are you looking at it thinking at the moment to try and start being aggressively move your team towards 22, or are you thinking that you'll?
Yeah, I've definitely. I've got two options. I can either play what's just in front of me and just try and muddle my way through to 22 and then try and wildcard around that time, or I can be aggressive because I mean, the issue that I've got is I've got 3 Arsenal. Obviously, it's not Arsenal aren't a team that I want, coming up from 21 because their fixtures are horrible. It's definitely obviously don't want triple. If I've got like a Ben White, then okay, or if I've got if I've got one of those cheap midfielders, then fine. Which ironically, I don't actually have one of those cheap midfielders, so it's actually a disaster for me there. And obviously, triple Chelsea is a problem because their fixtures get tougher, and then they disappear for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I've got Salah, and he's off to AFCON. I've got 7 players in my 15, which I'm deeming partially an issue. I mean, Mendy in goal just feels like a complete waste. I'm likely to probably go to Lloris. I think that might be a good move. It's between him and De Gea, and I think I'd much rather keep a Tottenham player in there. And I think the quality of chances that are going to be conceded against Tottenham are going to be quite low volume, or not quite low volume, low quality. So although he hasn't been so hot on the bonus in the last few weeks, he was still in and around it against Liverpool because maybe just because of the volume of shots that there were. But I don't mind Lloris from now until the end of the season. I think he's a good pick. And
let's start with keepers then, because that's one of the topics in that. So I think the thing with Lloris is that he's more expensive than everybody in front of him. That's probably the only thing that I don't like about Lloris is that. So if you took Maguire and De Gea, like 5.4 versus 5.1 De Gea, and then as opposed to like Lloris versus Emerson, for example, and is Emerson's cheaper, Davies is cheaper, Dyer's cheaper. Like that's the only thing I like about it is I can see myself wanting to triple up on both of those ones, and I feel like if I Lloris'd it, a bit like you did with Mendy, when suddenly it was like, oh, I wouldn't mind another Chelsea forward player, even if it's defender, is you were blocked out here. And I feel like if Son and Kane get some very, very good, like say they have 3 doubles in a row, we're all going to want Son and Kane. And you're going to want one of those wing backs and how well they played. And therefore, Lloris gets you out of it. That
is true.
But I'm like you. My first thought when I was looking at replacing Ramsdale was, I want Hugo. But I think De Gea is probably the better option.
Probably better.
Yeah.
There's 8 or 9 weeks at least that you can get good fixtures from him, and then it's City, and then they go into another 3 or 4 decent ones. I think it is. Yeah. So there's definitely
similar on Pope, isn't it? Pope's more expensive than Lowton and Taylor, and you just feel like I'm not sure that it's almost reminiscing that we should feel like we should look at Pope, but the fact is Burnley are conceding goals. They're not doing their 15 clean sheets that they did, a couple of seasons ago.
And I think what's important is actually I mean, if you're not going to go with De Gea, I mean, you should be looking at a keeper that has doubles coming up. I mean, just the fixtures, because obviously, if you're thinking they're going to be season keeper, they've just got more games than any other keeper.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, have a look at that before you think about doing keeper changes. And the only other chance you'll get is obviously on a wild card. So,
would you effectively? We all probably have something else we want to do this week. So if you took Ramsdale out this week for another keeper, let's say that's the -4 point. Would you -4 out Ramsdale this week for another keeper?
I don't mind it if it's long term. I really don't mind it if it's long term. I think there's enough going on that you can deal with a couple of points hit here and there, and I think you just got to muddle through. I mean, anything if you're going to score between 50 to 70 points in any given game week right now, you're going to do really, really well. So if you're going to take a 4-point hit for a keeper, for me it doesn't feel like a big deal because there's so much chaos.
Yeah.
And I think I said it last week. This is kind of favouring those that like to be a little bit more aggressive at the moment, because you can get away with taking those hits to some extent. I don't mean being silly about them, but essentially you could, if you'd have taken an 8-point hit this week to get Ødegaard and Lacazette in, you'd be laughing. You'd be really aggressive going against into that fixture. If you'd have gone in and you'd gone Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne for Salah and Jota, for example, I mean, you just absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
There's ways and means that you can get points, and because teams are tired and depleted, these attacking players that are fit and good and high quality have the best chance of really returning. I mean, just looking at the fixture ticker, the ticker down below me at the moment, me and you at the moment. If you look at some of the scores on that, I mean, you look at that Man City list. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers.
There's goals in there. Look at this week, and there was 17. Was it
28
goals?
28 goals already, I think it is. Yeah,
in 6 games.
Yeah, because I jumped onto FPL merch was giving away a pint glass this week if somebody guessed how many goals we were going to be scored, and people were like 17, 18, 19, 16. It's like I went 26. I thought it's going to be a big day, and I thought half of those goals were going to come from Arsenal and Tottenham. 28. We've got a game to go. I mean, like 9. So 9 from City, Leicester.
Yeah.
5 from Arsenal. 5 from Southampton, West Ham.
Yeah. 4 in the Chelsea game.
That
2 in the Brighton Brentford game.
Every year we get that photo comes out.
The 1963, wherever
the 1963 Boxing Day fixture. It's like there's a 6-3 on there. I'm sure there is. Yeah, it's like the first fixture, the same as this year. We always go, oh, fuck's sake, seeing that.
I tell you what, I hope it's not a 1963 tonight with nothing in the
nothing in
Ronaldo. Yeah. Oh God, don't keep
saying. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're all a bit in that position where we're like, how aggressive do we play based on cancellations, and what do we think we need to do? So I'm in that where I could just do a keeper transfer this week. I could do a -8 and get Ronaldo in this week. That's what I'd have to do if I wanted Ronaldo plus a keeper. So yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting on triple Arsenal that don't play. I've also got Davis, so I'm 4 out. I've got Palace who are trying to cancel fixtures. So I've got Gallagher. I've got Watford who haven't played in God knows how long.
Yeah.
And then obviously the City boys. Bernardo, who's just points dodging at the moment.
That'd be part of my -8. I think it would be Bernardo Lacazette, basically. Gets me my Ronaldo money. But it's difficult. I think once you start going, what you're doing is you start building towards bench boost. That's what I'm starting. I think if I'm -8, I'm almost putting myself towards it. It's so hard to plan a bench boost for 22 when you could have after the deadline
18 fixtures. Yeah. I mean 18 fixtures could become 10 fixtures because you can find all the doubles get cancelled and you're like, well, what am I doing?
That's the point, actually, isn't it? Is we don't like games like we
don't pick for Sunday because it's a Saturday deadline. Imagine trying to picking a bench boost for like a week on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I mean, imagine it was the Norwich and Wolves was the Arsenal double, and then literally as soon as you've had a 5-0 finish, next one's off. That's the danger, isn't it? I'm planning for bench boost, and it sort of almost puts me off. Do I just do a keeper move here and try and go another. But it's going a week without Ronaldo this week is horrible. Going next week without Ronaldo and Salah, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think you can go 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I can't think you can go a week without both of them.
mate. I've been going
That'd
to
be hard.
DFS for more sofas. You know,
Yeah.
it's bad. So there's that one. Games. Well, Man City, Leicester. If we started with that one, because then we could talk about the potential then Leicester Liverpool position. I think that takes us into the Salah piece. What a bonkers game!
Oh, mental. The football that City played in that first half was just ridiculous. I mean, it was epitomised by one of the goals, one of the shots they didn't score, which was the clipping by Zinchenko to Bernardo, who just side volleyed it into Sterling and caught great save from Casper. I mean, it just epitomised the quality, the level of quality when City are on it, and it's from all angles. It doesn't really matter where you come from, whether it's coming from Cancelo or they're dominant in the air and. Zinchenko, obviously KDB's looking hungry again. Sterling looks on it. I mean,
on it
doesn't really matter who they take in, and ex naughtiness is still in play right now. We don't know what's happening with Foden and Grealish.
Ex naughtiness, it is.
It's all there. It's you want so much of it. You want all of it. You just want all of it because you feel like if you have to try and choose, you're going to miss out, and that's the really tough thing about it. It feels like Pep Roulette's back in some extent. In the positions that we want, we're quite happy taking our Cancelo and Diaz, and we're all very happy now. But
you want a piece of it, but it's so difficult to get
it right.
What I did notice when they play Mahrez and Sterling, like they played yesterday, actually the fullbacks do nothing. Suddenly is Cancelo and Zinchenko. If you look at their heat maps, they basically just stop 30 yards out because they know that they're just going to get those two are greedy. So they just give them the ball and then they do what they need to do. And then also with De Bruyne and Gundogan, like those two clear off as well. So they're kind of needed in central midfield, Cancelo and Zinchenko. So
the fullbacks are needed in central midfield.
Well, that's where they go, isn't it? They tuck in and
they do.
And become, the outside central midfielders outside Fernandinho. But yeah, Mahrez and Sterling's heat maps are just disgusting.
So you got a graphic. You wanted to talk about Leicester's defending though, because I think we should also say. I mean, if you looked at that back line, it was. Do
you think he threw that game?
It felt like it
because
it really felt like it was like a. It was like guys, look, this is what you've made me fucking put out. I mean, this is all I've got.
He's put Castagna on the bench. He's put Ndidi on the bench. He's put Sumar on the bench. So it's his two best holding midfielders. Put them both on the bench. Then even when he takes Tillman's off, he brings Chowdhury on rather than those two. So he gives them a full rest. Gives Vardy a full rest. You're like, is he thinking?
I mean, he knows that City are City. I think, and he's gone. I just don't need to go toe to toe with City, and try and batter them, and try and take them on.
I mean, they still did a bit, like 6-3.
Well, I mean, there was enough going forward. But I think at the same time, I think City's completely switched off at the start of that second half, and I think it just surprised them at how quickly, Leicester attacked. I mean, the not the Maddison ball, but the first goal was quite straightforward. But the Iheanacho ball for Lookman was.
Oh yeah, that was good.
The Iheanacho ball for
that one.
That header.
Yeah. All he had to do was get his big nose on it. You know what I mean? Just put it in. Go on, Sharky.
I mean, Leicester attacked quick in that second half. It was almost like a fuck it. Let's just do what we can.
Yeah. But there was that great thing came out last week from StatsBomb, James York, where it shows like the XG non-penalty XG maps for goals conceded and goals fought. If you haven't, just check out.
I don't have that.
Look at them. I didn't send that because it's a week old now. We've had more fixtures.
True.
But it is good. And basically, it looks like Leicester games start 1-1. Like on the XG, they always concede more than one XG. They always have more than one XG in their goals for. So they are a dangerous team and they're a fun team, and you will have some good things in it. Now, for not owning Salah this week, it's like Salah just a no-brainer captain because it's so much fun to have players against Leicester. The one thing that is just been really visible, and I got involved in a conversation last week, and I saw some free hit conversations, and there's a guy FPL Mihir, and he asked about somebody asked me about Leicester set pieces, and I said, oh, they're bad, like they're bad, really bad. They were bad last season, they're bad again this season. I think Laporte's a really good option, and obviously scored an assist, and they could have had so many goals from set pieces. If you look at them for the season, they've conceded 74 chances to set pieces. They've conceded the most amount of goals, 12 goals from corners, and it massively comes down the left flank. So that's right wingers, right fullbacks, right wing backs, as it were.
So Trent and Salah.
Trent and Salah is monstrous. Is 78 chances from that side. 196 crosses coming in from that side. It's just a massive problem for them. Luke Thomas is not good enough. Ryan Bertrand's like outside him at the moment, or if they play him as well, or Yannick Vestergaard's just too slow. Like it's just all rubbish down that left-hand side, and they've got nothing to make it better.
Yeah, from a set piece point of view, they need to just. I mean, I watched Match of the Day last night, and they did a good little bit of analysis on Leicester's defending at set pieces, just mismatches over and over again.
Well, they just zonal.
It felt like it was zonal, but then they also had Tielemans and someone else marking Laporte and Diaz.
I mean,
just completely. And you got Vestergaard and Amati doing the zone, and you got these two short-ass midfielders doing the man-to-man at the back post, and they just plonked it there like 3 or 4 times, and it's just poor, isn't it?
They're just very, very poor defensively. So I think it's an interesting one for those that are non-Salah this week of, do you stay in that fixture and where the opportunities are? So everything says to me that Trent will get an assist. It just, because they're just so bad at corners, so bad. Everything suggests to me that they also, I think he'll get a few shots. And Kasper Schmeichel's been absolutely terrible this season, so it wouldn't surprise me if you got a Trent Hall. Wouldn't surprise me if you got Trent things. But do you think you're going to get the clean sheet? Probably no. And that's the danger one on Trent, is I think there's 3 ways to get results from him. 4 ways really, because he just gets the bonus so easily. Is it if he gets any of them? He's just getting top bonus every game he plays at the moment.
Yeah.
I think from a Liverpool perspective, it absolutely would not surprise me if Trent and Van Dijk are your top 2 in the bonus. That they take 3 and 2 in the bonus this week. Would not surprise me at all.
But you're saying because we think it's potentially likely that Leicester will score.
Does that push you to Jota? Is probably if you're non-Salah. I think if you're on Salah, I still think you just go Salah over Trent. Like you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Don't look the gift horse in the mouth. Is that Salah's Salah? I think it's an interesting one probably for someone like you. Is that if this was a normal week and Salah was 200% owned, I think you might be tempted on Trent on something like this. It's because you love a bit of it.
And he's not gonna. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to think of the. We just don't know how many of the. Because obviously Ronaldo's 100% owned this week, but that's going to largely be down to some free hits. There's going to be a lot of free hits in there, as well as a lot of hits. So, I mean, I'm just trying to work out. We just have no idea what the ownership's going to be.
Yeah, and home to Burnley. So I think you end up with Ronaldo about 80-90%. I think that'll be the case.
In which case, then Salah will probably only be about 130.
Yeah, so it's such a brilliant opportunity. I don't think anyone should let the gift horse in the mouth. If you've got Salah, I think I would just captain him. But I think Trent and Van Dijk could be golden this week. Like Van Dijk, if anyone's got a luxury transfer and is looking at someone like Reece James in their team, I'd well advocate going Reece James to Virgil van Dijk if you've already moved Salah on.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
It's
fair. I think you're asking for a wild card in a few weeks if you're on that though, because you're going to kind of want to come back to.
I think we will though.
Salah, Jota, Trent, aren't you? Yeah.
I think we all will. I don't see it as the bits where everyone's going, oh, I'm going to wild card in 36. Can't see it. I just think it's just chaos. We're just chasing chaos, aren't we? That's it. We are
This is
literally
true.
chasing tornadoes,
Just
mate, in this
find,
world.
just find, yeah. You got to find a point where you can get some settled fixtures. Well, a settled fixture run. I'm not talking about,
Yeah.
and try and pinpoint that for wildcard, I think, or if you're going to try and bench boost, if you're going to,
So I think at the moment I'm on Trent captain, and I suspect I'll stay that way.
nice,
Even if I bring Ronaldo
mate.
in, I suspect I'll stay that way.
This is a fun time for you. This
But
is a
it could
nice
easily
time for
be a
me as
1
well.
point, couldn't it? That could easily, like, I could easily have Trent and Salah scores a hat trick and Trent gets 1 pointer. Could happen. So it's going to be a.
I can't see it. I think even if there's a situation where Trent doesn't get an assist, and well, okay, if he gets a hat trick, then fine.
Yeah.
But
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it will be.
Where are we at? I can't remember what we're doing now.
No. I think we should. I mean, we've talked about. What are the games? So Arsenal, we don't really need to talk about so much because we know they haven't got a fixture next week.
Yeah.
I'm literally just following the ticker below me now. I'm just trying to remember the games. We obviously got Tottenham. So Lucas is an interesting one for me. He's just everywhere. He's just everywhere. And that was a good and bad thing yesterday. I mean, obviously it worked in his favour for the assist and the goal. I mean, the goal was bonkers. I just basically owned Anderson completely. But it did as you said earlier on about. Or did I say this earlier on, or was I saying this before we started? It's just the way that Tottenham attacked yesterday is that we built up in possession better down the right hand side, but we were a lot quicker going down the left with Reggie.
Yeah.
And what we found in the second half, particular, Emerson was very far forward and he got some chances into Lucas, and Reggie was just there at the back post on his own. Yeah. But Lucas, as you said, greedy. Had two. The first one he spooned over the bar. Reggie was like, "Well, mate, I was here."
Yeah.
And the second one that he did, he was absolutely livid because he was there again. So I don't know. It was interesting.
Reggie could have had a big haul yesterday.
He could have done. It was a bit difficult because obviously they're not substitutions that we would have expected to see, or we're used to seeing at least. We're not used to Kane coming off at 60. We're not used to Son coming off at 70. So it kind of just felt a bit different yesterday, and I don't know whether that's just a result of fixture congestion that's obviously coming up, and Conte looking to try and protect the players, or whether it's a case of actually we were 3-0 up. Anyway, 3-0 up and 11v10, so probably it was all kind of situational rather than.
We haven't had that level of confidence. We have not, in the last 3 years, we have not had the level of confidence to say we can take Son and Kane off. No, even at 2-0 against 10 men, Spursy for a reason, we have not had that level of confidence to be able to do that sort of thing. So I do think there might be that situation where we're playing teams where we think we might dominate. He'll play Lucas rather than Dele, because Dele, what he does is good stretches and good runs, and is probably the better counter against the Liverpool. So I almost can see maybe he plays the 3-5-2 in the bigger games and the 3-4-3 in the games where he feels like we should win. But consistently penalty XG above 2 for 5 games in a row. As much non-penalty XG in the last 5 games as the first 11 games is consistently strong. Yeah. So and those wing backs, because they, our full wing backs is 4 key passes apiece from him yesterday. Emerson had a monster game. It was so good. And we talked about it last week, but the whole team pushes left. And it just leaves him in so much space on that right. And it's just a question of where he goes with it. And I think that's the thing is Emerson will always be involved. It's just that if the ball gets to Reggie, he's almost 8 yards out and potentially can score. And it's just whether he gets the ball, because every time yesterday it went to Lucas, Bergwijn, Kane, Son, when he was just standing there ready for a tap in.
Yeah.
They're both great options.
Yeah, so maybe don't go Lloris.
I don't think so, because I could almost see us
just go both of them doubling up at the back.
You wouldn't mind going from double Chelsea wing backs to double Tottenham wing backs right now and pocketing 2 million.
Yep, especially with all the doubles coming up.
You wouldn't mind it
as well. But I think as you said, I mean, we're more likely to see a a Reggie rest in a double
Yeah.
rather than an Emerson rest. So maybe double is the way to go. So at least you get 3 out of the 4 fixtures essentially. So you get 3 clean sheets out of 4 if we got them, or 3 attack, or whatever. So
I mean, I've owned Emerson for a while now, but
yeah,
yesterday was the first day where I didn't regret that decision, and I thought to myself, "Oh," because ever since I've just been like, "Look at Reggie, look where he is." But Sessegnon be back for 22, probably back for 21 actually, and don't forget that Tottenham have got the League Cup things in between 21, 22 and all those ones. Sessegnon and Reggie will do a lot of rotation. I don't think I'd advocate bringing Reggie in at the moment because of that. I think I'd probably stick with Dyer over over them. I think Emerson and Dyer suddenly have become the 2 options. Davies was really unexpected that he didn't play, but maybe maybe it is some COVID suffering still. I wouldn't surprise me if Lucas came out again. I watched the training video at Christmas Day, whatever it was. That's how I spend my Christmas Day, 6 minutes of training. And he looked really subdued in training, Lucas. So I was really surprised that he played. And I would not be surprised if Dele's back in tomorrow, bearing in mind it's such a short turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Tottenham. I mean, the West Ham Southampton game, I think the interesting bit is just that Ralph said, look, I had a week to prepare. So it helped him.
Yeah.
And therefore, bonkers games. It continues to be bonkers games. And I thought Villa were really good against Chelsea in the first half. And then Chelsea just keep getting penalties.
Just penalties.
Just keep getting penalties. Jorginho, that penalties are so good. Like, he made Emi look stupid. Like, what a man. Like, this is the man that was dancing with Amina and thrusting his that business. And he absolutely owned him. Just ridiculous. So, yeah, I don't think we need to talk a huge amount about it, but I do think we'll start coming off Chelsea. But mainly it's just because the fixtures are not good for them. I think the Brighton game.
They just keep conceding as well. I think anyone on a defender at the moment, they just keep conceding. I mean, I don't know how many. What is it? 1 clean sheet in 8 or something like that in the league, which is that's just not good enough if you're going to triple up or double up or whatever you want to do with them, because you're expecting. I mean, I'm on triple Chelsea. I'm just thankful I wasn't on it yesterday because I'm a free hit. But it is genuinely in the league one.
They leave people isolated so much as well. Like Alonso, he keeps having to take a yellow card because he's basically on his own. Because Jorginho doesn't do the running on that side, and so he's given away a stupid yellow basically to just take the yellow card. Twice, I think I've seen that in the last 2 or 3 games. Alonso's actually playing much, much better than Reece James out of the 2 of them right now. So I've always thought I'll come off Alonso straight away, but I don't know. I think Alonso's playing all right. I think Reece James is playing badly.
I still think money doesn't seem to be a problem though at the moment, does it? It doesn't really seem to be a big issue. It's so weird that
I think you can just come off them.
Think you can just come off them and you're fine. You can replace it with a 5 million and be quite happy. There's enough. I mean, we still want to see what's going to happen tonight. Tonight's going to be quite important anyway, I think, to see how sort of United have recovered from their sort of COVID break and see who plays, because I think Dalot is back in training now.
Yeah,
I think he is back. So I think that's the one everyone's got their eye on. I think it'd be interesting to see if Tellez does start. I can't see a reason why he wouldn't at the moment, and then just to see how they're setting up. I mean, this is going to be, apart from maybe a pre-season, this is going to be a longest that a manager's had with his squad. I mean, when did United last play? I don't even remember.
It should be good tonight. They
should be really, really good tonight. I'm expecting them to do well, but
if they're not,
like, they haven't had a game since the 11th of December.
Wow.
Like, it's nuts. 16 days. They should be fully fresh. They should be well drilled in terms of, because even if they're doing like video analysis and tactical analysis and things like that, that's really about getting the manager's philosophy in there. Because look, these guys are professional footballers. They can all kick a football in the direction they're supposed to kick it. Most of them anyway. So yeah.
Brian Brentford was the last one that was on. what I saw of it first half was just Brentford were terrible, Brighton were really good. Actually, what I saw last half hour was that
It's the other way around.
I don't know whether Brighton ran out but Brentford went for them, and I thought they were very unlucky to not get anything out of it.
Yeah, I think Thomas Frank he acknowledged that they weren't good enough in key parts of that first half. It does not take away anything away from the goals because both of them were unbelievably good.
Yeah, real good.
I mean, I prefer. I think I prefer the first one to the second one, just to the way he's taken it off his shoulder and just volleyed it, basically,
Lovely.
and just gently volleyed it over the top of the keeper, who, to be fair, I don't think could have really done much else. He could have come out and clattered him. He could have stayed in his goal. I think if he doesn't come out, Trossard takes it down. So he's probably damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Yeah, I was quite impressed with that, and I thought Brighton were quite good. They were under a lot of pressure. Sanchez was quality yesterday.
Oh yeah,
massive saves.
Really good saves.
Like the deflected one, and then like 30 seconds later, and then just you can hear the little kid screaming away. That's my niece. But so and then Cucurella off the line as well. And they defended like, well, they had to defend hard at times.
Yeah. Apparently, Bumo had a tight calf or something before the game, and then goes off after 40 minutes. So that's.
Oh yeah, I did see that actually. I didn't.
Yeah,
because I didn't watch the start of the game. I did see that he went off injured.
Doesn't sound particularly ideal.
I
Especially when they were better second half as well. But yeah, I think
owners past the Boomer
now. That's probably the decision for me. Is probably on the keeper situation. Is I could, rather than go to De Gea from Ramsdale, I could go the second keeper route and go Sanchez over Foster, and then I'm starting to push myself towards bench boost.
Yeah,
I think that's, you're almost guaranteed you're going to want a bench boost, aren't you? And I'm not against it, because then actually, if I did it now while there's uncertainty, I've got more chance
of a keeper
every week, and then I can just wild card and be like, that's it, bench boost is done, wild card, don't need two keepers hopefully again, so that's probably a temptation. If it wasn't, it's just the fact that they've got Chelsea first up, isn't it? Like tomorrow, that's almost putting you off it when you see De Gea's home to Burnley, and then maybe it's like, do I really want the Brighton keeper? And probably what you're going to.
Well, a lot of people have moved off. A lot of people have moved off Sanchez recently as well. Yeah. They've all moved to De Gea. Funnily enough, when they had that Norwich game, which was the last game they played, so everyone who's brought in De Gea has literally had that Norwich game and then nothing else for 3 weeks.
So that's probably the decision for me: is De Gea or Sanchez. Have two keepers and have Sanchez, or don't, and then but don't fully commit to the bench boost, and then try and find it when the actual game comes around.
Yeah,
cool.
I think we're good there. This week? Well, what I'm thinking is how do I get these Arsenal players out of my team for a number of reasons. I think that's the route that I want to go down. I think I'll end up with a Spurs defender in there. In terms of the striker, I really don't know what I'm going to do. I've got double Arsenal defence, so I need to figure out something there. I may just leave one in if I can get away with it, because Palace have got Norwich, and if Gallagher is going to play, then that's not a bad player to have.
No.
So I'm not in any rush to move on him. I can't even remember when was the last time Watford played. Talking about Man U,
so they're expected to play, aren't they? Watford. That's what they've said. They're expecting Watford to play, but they've been time, and they've got West Ham. I'm an interesting one in that one. In that I've currently got Josh King on the bench, and I'm like, oh, Josh King. I've got Josh King, and then I've got Bernardo and Foden. Could you really bench a City midfielder for Josh King?
No, probably not. Well, no, not against West Ham. I think if he was playing like Norwich or Burnley or Newcastle or Leeds, then yeah, I think you could do. But no,
it's just impossible. You hope that Pep makes the decision for you, almost. I do.
Yeah. Yes, basically. But to have Josh King sitting there on the bench, you need a bench. You need a bench at the moment, so it's not a bad thing to have one there.
Would you play double Chelsea defence home to Brighton over Josh King?
I'm done with Chelsea defence, mate. I've got to. I'm playing. Yeah. I've got to. So yes.
Yeah,
I've
that's
got to. I mean, I've got to prioritise Arsenal, getting rid of
yeah.
them, just for my sanity more than anything.
It's a difficult one. I mean, I've just championed Emerson, and he's behind Josh King on my bench at the moment. It's difficult. I'm thinking about a -8, despite the fact that I've got Josh King and Emerson on my bench. Might Can't really tell if I'm pushing too hard or not.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one. But I'll watch the game tonight. We'll
I think
work
if
it
you've
out
got all
tomorrow.
the, I think you've got a core. I mean, again, we say this all the time. You only need, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7 players. If 6 or 7 players haul in your team, then you're flying. So you
Yeah,
should be doing all right. And even more so now. I mean, that's why. I mean, people are leaving their teams to like with 8 players and just saying that's all. That's all I'm going to get out.
yeah,
And people have been getting 60 points with that. So it is possible if you have
yeah,
the right players. So I wouldn't worry too much about the fringe unless you absolutely have to move them on. Just at least if you've got cover to get you through cancellations and stuff like that, I think that feels like the priority right now. And
yeah,
yes, you can have one eye on what you're going to do 21, 22, AFCON bench boosts, all this good fun stuff, double game weeks, blah blah blah. But I think getting 11 out is quite it feels really important. It still feels important
does.
and having the cover.
Sound advice, sir. Happy New
Yeah.
Year.
Happy New Year, mate. Yeah, quite a short one today, which is good. So just as a final shout, I mean, obviously we were expecting to get FPL Sonaldo on today, but he has been ill, so we wish him the best in getting ready, getting better. Have spoken to him this morning, so he is alive. That's a bonus. So we'll so
It's always a bonus,
always a
definitely.
bonus. So yeah, we'll get him on soon once he's feeling up to it. So yeah, get well soon, buddy. And yeah, so follow the podcast at Above Average FPL. Follow Baker at Baker FPL343. Subscribe YouTube. Go listen to Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. And good luck for next game week.
See you later, mate. Good luck.
Cheers, mate. Bye.